And there we go. So, hello, whoever the 2 3 people who are listening to this podcast or whatever you want to call it. Now we're gonna finally talk about the
Hello.
yes. Hello, everyone. We have
Hello.
Hi guys, welcome.
yes, we have everyone here. And this week we're gonna talk about chapters. Actually, since last week we didn't finish, we're kind of gonna talk a little about chapter maybe 28 to. We'll try to get to 51, which is the end of hide and seek. But it's a very long discussion, so we'll see how it goes. I have everyone's points here, and before we start with those points, I wanted to talk about some of the things that we didn't get to talk about last week. From chapter 25 to 30, there's just 2 things that I wrote down. First, I don't know if we mentioned this, but on chapter 25, the notes, SIU said that Huarion is the most beautiful character on the second floor. So that pretty much, for him, she was the most beautiful compared to Androsi or anyone else. So just wanted to put it out there. What do you guys think about that?
No,
No.
I mean, can't blame the guy for having good taste.
actually speaking, yeah, she's very classy and she really stands out a difference of the other characters. So
I mean,
I can give him that.
I have to agree. I mean,
That's a
she's
good
quite
point,
beautiful.
actually. The fact that she stands out, like
yeah, she's
visually,
beautiful,
I
that's
mean.
I
She's
can't
quite
deny that,
beautiful.
but she's not my wife.
Well, not mine either, but I think that indeed you make a good point of the fact that she stands out. Like, she visually is completely different from the other characters. She's very colorful. Yes, Androssi is as well, but she has like this very this specific color theme to her. Like most of the other female characters as well, they have a very not basic. How do you call this? Just not a color scheme that stands out. It blends in.
But in a more traditional way, I think
So,
Huarion is more beautiful. Like, she's more traditionally
just look at
feminine,
the eye patch.
you know. And Androsi, she's hot. I don't think she's beautiful. I think of her as hot, like her attitude, her body is nice, but Huarion has like a more feminine look, like a more feminine and classy. It's different types, I think. You cannot compare
Yeah, she's
them.
kind of classy. Actually, that's right. She stands out. And that part in the eye, it really hurts him. It really hurts her with that. So yeah, I kind of agree with SIU. She's beautiful.
All right, I convinced at least somebody.
Well, and at this point, we've officially lost all our female listeners.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's go to the other point. And okay, so just one quick point. I mean, it's kind of big, but this is something as you said on the blog post of chapter 29. Many readers believe I have made a perfect setting for Tower of God, but I am actually making them quite shallower than you think. So, in other words, like, people are making crazy theories and creating their own hypotheses of what's going on or why things happen. But in reality, to him, it's much more simpler, But just the story is complicated, but the reasons behind it are simple, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he planned out the important feats, and he knows where he wants to go, and like the little details that he hasn't specifically written down, he just makes up as he go. I think he said that actually in, I don't know, chapter 10 or 15, somewhere in the blog posts, post chapter notes. Yeah.
All right. So
yeah,
I kind of agree. I'm sure and that happens with any fandom. The author gives something, and sometimes the fandom just start making so crazy theories or according to their own, or doing things on their own. And I'm sure in the anime, SIU has some kind of participation in it that makes some things that were not available in the webtoon, like God's the moment when God was Rachel gets stabbed and God's feel it, or so many little things that change in the anime. I think it wasn't the director, but it was you instead that put these things because if I'm not wrong, in an interview he said that he tried to convey a little things in the anime that he wasn't able to do in the webtoon.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's why the anime, I mean, it feels so different sometimes. But oh, guys, some of you are having some background noise. Can you mute your microphone when you're not talking? That way we don't hear so much. Perfect. All right, so let's go with.
Yes.
I have your points right here for chapter 30. I think this is Thor. No, I think this is Jesus. Hats is only 18 years old. Yeah, they said that he's only 18, and
That's smart.
he's a regular age. And I have something about that before you guys say anything. I wrote it down somewhere, but basically, in chapter 32, I want to read something on the blog post. But basically, SIU says that the H in the tower is completely meaningless, and he says something about your mind. So in most cases, or in some cases, the age, the physical age of a character is actually their mental age. So if they behave and are childish and they're like kids, they're gonna look like kids. But I guess once they mature or once they decide to mature, I don't know if there's a difference. Then they start to look older. That's my conclusion because that's what he says. He says, it basically reflects their mind, whatever age they are in their mind.
I agree with that, and that's exactly what he does with White. When he's Joaquin, he's a little child, but as he gets his brother fusioned with him and becomes White, he becomes more mature and more tall and older, and his thoughts change. So maybe kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's a common way artists use to represent maturity and similar character flaws or traits, because it's like you only have this much space to work with, and if you have to say, oh yes, this guy is like, he is much more mature than the rest. I mean, yes, you can make that out by how he behaves, but it's much faster, much easier to make it clear if you just make the character look more like that, because, well, I mean, you look at him and you see, this guy looks more mature, and then he acts more mature, and you're like, okay, he definitely is more mature, and you don't have to, guess around. It's actually very common tool to use. I was just on that note on Hud specifically, I was just very surprised that he was 80 and not older, because, well, he doesn't look old, but he behaves much more mature than most of the people around him. And like you said, age in the tower is, well, it's not really a thing. And still, like him specifically stating he's 18, yes, that could mean his mental age, but I feel like his mental age is actually older than 18. And like some characters that they could be 100 years old and they definitely don't,
well, he was 18. Maybe he was born.
Just 18, was wondering.
He was born 18 years before he started climbing the tower, but by now he's in his 30s, I guess. I mean, it's been like 10 years or 7 years. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much
the
comments
current point of the story, yes, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have many thoughts on Hatsu's age. I know he said he was 18. I don't really know if he's 18 of mind or if he actually was born 18 years ago. It's very weird, I guess. I mean, if he was born 18 years ago, that makes him very impressive because he had less time to train. But let me read this real quick about the age.
Exactly.
It says, sometimes learning to use Shinshu stops the body from aging. Then this person will usually be treated as a child even after living a long time. So normally in the tower, body and mind are considered to be the same age. So note, one's body age will be determined by the mind age. Of course, some exceptions occur due to birthdays and families. So that was the thing I wanted to read because it's very interesting. I don't think I've never thought about it before. That they said that
I think
it's up to the mind.
I think actually in chapter 50, Quant actually, or was it 51? Where Quant actually says, for hundreds of years, I stopped my body from age, or my body stopped aging, or something. It was when when Ho is threatening Rachel's life, and or before he fights Andros, yeah, somewhere around there. And he just says, "Yeah, but my body stopped aging for hundreds of years." So I mean, in that case, yeah, clearly you wouldn't measure the age by the body because, well, his body stopped aging according to him.
Right, but his mind,
So
like
yeah,
his mental, his mind is of a
mental age
15-year-old, so that disproves the theory.
That's true.
That disproves the theory that Quant is like a 15-year-old kid and he's in a like 30-year-old body. I don't think the SAU realized that.
Well, his body is very small, and I mean just his expressions make him look not very serious.
But he looks older. I
think what he was. Oh yeah, I mean, sure, he probably is, like, his body is probably at a 30s age, but because a converted age of 30, because he is a ranker and he was slower than Yuri, and Yuri took 500 years. So, but his body is still in the 30s converted age, but his mind would be like his mind wouldn't have stopped aging. His personality might have stopped aging, but his mind certainly didn't. And so if he's talking about his age, he would have to say, I'm like, I don't know, 1,000 years old, even though his body is like in tower years, maybe, I don't know, 300 years.
Yeah, I found the part. It's chapter 51. I have to use my full power.
Yeah.
Did you gather all the Dragon Balls so that your words will come true? And he's like, no, for hundreds of years, my body hasn't gotten old thanks to Chinsu, and it became tougher than steel. Nothing is impossible for me. That's what he said. So yeah, he for sure is hundreds of years.
Then he looked at panties.
I mean, how much did he take to climb the tower to the, probably, I mean, the average is 500. I wouldn't be surprised if he took 1,000. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he is definitely old enough to at least have double zeros.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next topic. Okay, this should be quick. It says Rachel dream that maybe still wants to be with Bam chasing the stars, but she knows she can't. I have something real quick to say about that. I think that Rachel was very nice, especially in the manga. In the anime, not so much, but in the manga, like, Rachel was nice until she had to push Bam. Like right around that time is when she starts to show her bad side. But before that, she was very nice, and I think she genuinely liked Bam, and she like everything she said was true. But she had to follow orders, like she put her dream on top of Bam for sure. I'm not saying she loved Bam beyond anything, but she was mind controlled to do something bad. No, she had her dream first, always, at all times. But she wasn't hating Bam until later when she started to get a little jealous, I think.
Yeah, I think the reason why I made that note was actually because I had a very similar thought. Like, yes, people always like, oh, she always just was trying to manipulate him. No, I think, yes, she was jealous of him. She wanted his role. She wanted his, she wanted to fulfill her dream, which was taking his place, essentially. But she still liked him. She spent a lot of time with him. They had a legitimate relationship, not a love relationship, but they had a relationship. And in that dream, we can basically see her losing Bam to other people, knowing that she wants to be part of it, but she chooses to distance herself from him because, she knows she has to betray him, and she I mean, from what it looks like, yes, she's jealous, but I think she's more sad that she cannot be with the rest of those people that
So
surrounds himself with.
so my thought on that dream scene, and I want to know what Frolan and Jesus say. But my thought on that scene is that, so first of all, she is happy looking at the sky because that's her dream. She wants to climb the tower to see the sky, and that's what she's looking at. And she always says that when she's dreaming, she sees the sky. So she's looking at the sky, she's happy, and then she sees Bam, and Bam has all this light that is outshining the stars, and she sees Bam and she's happy. Look, she's smiling, but then she sees friends around Bam, and more friends and more friends, and the light is outshining the sky, and she's like, wow, like Bam is better than the stars, you know. So in one way she's a little jealous, but in another way I think she's conflicted, and she's like, wow, I think I like the stars, but I also want to be with Bam. I don't know what I want more. In the end, obviously she picked the stars, but I feel like at that moment she was still like liking Bam. What do you guys think?
Me, I think about that part. Um, I think Rachel thinks about that maybe she chose a wrong decision and Bam was more. I mean, Bam outweighed the stars that she wants to see, and I think she's conflicted too. And that makes me think that since Bam shines brightly, it. I think when they started climbing the tower, and she realized that Bam is really something compared to her, that made her. I think that made her choose the path and be jealous of him. Um, I think that can you go up in the with your friends, Bam and his friends there. As you can see, I like this panel. As you can see, Rachel is with her stars, and Bam was with his friends. As you can see, Bam literally he shows like he is a star, and Rachel is in the dark, and it symbolizes like when they're in the cave, Rachel is always on the top right, and she is always on the light, and Bam is always in the cave in the darkness. But now, when they are all inside the tower, Rachel is now in the dark, and she is afraid that Bam will now rise up to be the star. I think that's what made her realize, and that's made that fueled her jealousy more to Bam. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
that's right. It's like that the tables turn because you're right, in the cave, Bam, I mean, Rachel was Bam's light. Bam always said Rachel is my
Quite
star,
literally.
and now it's quite the opposite because Bam is the most talented one of two, of course, and more. There's argument that Rachel has this charisma also. That's why she
Yeah.
has, she's climbing the tower. But Bam's charisma is over the top, better or more, and plus he has actual powers. So far. What do you think, Jesus? Any comments on that?
That is what I wanted to talk last week because it was a big point for me. But since we cut it short, I don't remember many of my thoughts about it. But I was wondering, connecting this with his speech when I don't remember which chapter it was, when they both were in the cave and they talk about the night and they talk about the real stars. And she says, imagine a sky where there is, look at the ceiling, there's nothing. There's
Hmm.
stars and they're bright, shiny. And we don't have to worry about the night that we are afraid of. We the real the we can see the stars with the real night.
The real night.
And what if we replace the word "bam" with "night" since they both have the same meaning?
Right.
I
So
find that really interesting because
yeah.
Rachel thinks about it, and she doesn't want to be the. I think the real motive of Rachel, and we know that in the anime in the webtoon later on, is stated that it's not looking at the stars. It was becoming a star. So when she realizes that Van is climbing the tower and she's getting more friends and getting power, like Frodan and Thor said, she got really mad and jealous because yeah, she can reach the ceiling, which she will never become a star like Van is doing. Van has his own light, and she's used that darkness. It's not the night she wants. She wants a real knight. And we know later on that she says, "You are the one that stole everything from me, everything that was supposed to be for me, because this isn't what I wanted." So she betrays him, and all the stuff we know.
Right. I disagree a little bit with the she's mad about it. I don't think she was mad until later. She starts to grow. That feeling
Not
starts to
loud,
grow on her.
jealous.
Yeah. Kind of like a hoe.
Yeah, I think this is the point where
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was like a little bit jealous, and she, like her dream definitely came from this somehow connected with Bam in some way.
Yeah.
But I think like the real mad jealous part really comes later, like
Right,
after like I think especially after she meets him again after the whole push situation.
Right. And think
I
about
think that's when it really escalates.
and think about this. Head on asked her to do whatever she had to do, before the second floor. But she still treated Bam very nicely until like it was to the last minute, and she was like, "Okay, now I need to do this." Plus, I'm feeling very jealous because before they went to the second floor, Rachel thought of Bam as that kid who likes me and I like him, but I don't want him to follow me. But only through the second floor is that Rachel started to get jealous of him. Right before that, she never showed that jealousy, even though probably Rachel knows about Bam's past, and who knows
Yeah, she
what
was
she
only
knows.
her.
But
Yeah, she was only her caretaker.
yeah,
She didn't have any ulterior motives.
yeah, it did
So,
seem like it.
as I said last week,
That's
that
right. Yeah,
this is part of a big plan.
couple more years.
And what is the way to make your plan work fine? That everyone else is your chess table, and Rachel and Bam, especially Rachel, is just a piece of a big game.
Yeah,
So that is exactly what happened. That she didn't know that she was being controlled until she went and later on went into fuck. So she in the first season until the threesome and the real jealousy happened. She was just a girl being used.
all right, let's move on to the next topic. And you have here a few points about Androsi and Enact. I think we need to make this very quick because they're not so important to the story, except about the shoes and relationships and princesses. Yeah, I mean, they'll play a role, but right now it's just I'm sorry, Androsis saying that she cannot date people because she's forbidden. And then there's an analogy with the shoes, like the king has, shoes, a shelf full of shoes. Those are the princesses, but nobody's allowed to wear them because they're just for show. That's the analogy.
Yes, technically. The thing is that she uses the shoes to refer to multiple different things, like all related to princesses. So basically, she's saying shoes are like the shoes on for show are like the princesses, but she also uses it not only to represent the princess, but also to represent the relationships, which are like even if they are platonic, that's even that
it's still a relationship.
Like that. Since that analogy is used on specifically on the platonic relationships, the same thing applies to whenever she talks about the shoes on display, the princesses. So
yeah,
technically, she is saying that the princesses are in itself a platonic relationship with Zahar, at least with the system. But it goes a bit further than that, and especially then when we see. I I think Jesus also noted that down. When we see her shoes, her broken heels that got fixed for the third time, um, like at that's also the moment where she signs the friendship paper, and that's when we see her shoes not nicely placed, but we see her broken shoes laying on the ground. Like that's yet again the shoes that are not on the display anymore at this point. So in fact, at that moment she signed that paper, she left the display of the heart, and by that she pretty much got away from being
Yeah.
legitimate. Like she lost
Yeah.
her status in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
I think it's shown very, like, I like the symbolism that he uses. Like he builds up this whole metaphor of the shoes, and then he like on more or less on a side note, he adds this just to indicate it again. I'm
right.
just
So
a big fan of that.
so it is very very prominent, and a lot of people miss these little references, which I'd say that is because people read it too quick. But every time that Androssi broke her heel, it was a big moment in her development. So when she broke it
Oh, I
against,
wanted to say that.
yeah, she broke it against Huarium because she was helping Bam and she was helping Rachel, and then she broke it with Anak, and that's when she actually realized that Anak was right, kind of, like, oh, she starts to learn the story of Anak, then she
Yeah.
breaks the heel. Well, she breaks the heel before that, but around the same chapter. And if you
But
see Anak,
in the
she's not
general
even
series.
wearing shoes. Anak doesn't wear shoes. So Androssi, after this and second season, she's always wearing sneakers, which kind of like, she's off the high heels.
Actually, still in this season.
Yeah.
Even
So,
in the hide and seek, she is not wearing heels anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, after Hyatt, I wanted to point out that you're right. I have never noticed that. Never put in my mind that even though she's a Sahar princess, Anak, she never uses shoes. And I didn't notice. And what I wanted to talk is in the moment Androsi fought against Huardian, she was defending Rachel.
Yeah.
And he was trying to defend Bam. And that caused her problems, so her heels broke. And when she was fighting Anak, she was trying to defend the Sahar name. So it already causes her problems. And again, the shoes that are supposed to give her this status princess brought again. Also, so protecting Rachel or doing something like being this merciless woman and protect the name Sahar, it is not suited for her. So it causes her problems. And this is also the thing that the SIU wants to convey with this analogy. Even in, and of course, what Thor said when the heels got broke and she already decided to step out as a Sahar princess and do whatever she wants, follow Bam and protect Anak.
Yep. All right, let's jump to a different point now. Okay, so since we're in that chapter right now, let's talk about the 10 great family symbols. I didn't really make any notes on that, but a few years ago, I actually made a post on Reddit about which one was each. I don't actually remember them, but I'll try to see. Do you guys see the image on the screen right now?
Yeah.
So obviously the first one is Arya.
Yeah.
The second one is Kun. The third one I'm gonna guess is
Eurasia.
Eurasia.
I think it's Eurasia. Yeah.
The fourth one is obviously Eon, right? The fifth
Iyon,
one
yes.
is and I
Povidao.
forgot. Povidao, yeah, 20th floor.
Povidao, yeah.
The sixth one is most likely the
Lopopia.
Lopovia, yeah, controlling animal. Then we have blood matter, I think. Tuperia.
Handleblot, Handlelock.
Yeah, Handlelock. Tuperia
Handlelock.
family, which is light bearers.
That better.
We had never seen no one from that family, right?
The Tuperia family.
Yeah, we
We have seen
no
one,
one.
but she was not formally
No.
presented.
Yeah.
Capelista is not confirmed. Yeah. To be.
Then we have Ha. I mean, yeah, Ha. Ha
It's the
family.
half family.
I mean, most likely it looks like by the colors of Yuri. I think we guessed that. And then Ari, which is the other sword using family. And that's my
Correct.
guesses right now. I think that's what I wrote a couple of years ago. Any?
I think you
Yeah,
put
that's-
Ari at the top one, but as a top right, but I'm not sure.
Ari is
I
the
remember a
bottom
post of that.
Two
from-
are right.
I mean, I agree that Ari is the bottom right one, while the Ari is the top left one. But if, I remember a post from like back a few years back where the Ari family was written on the top right. I mean, I might be mistaken,
maybe
but,
because
like a,
I did two of those. The first one was like season one, like season before season one is finished. I think I made one with the wrong names, and then after the 20th floor came out, I switched it. So maybe that's what you saw before, unless somebody else did one. But the last time I looked up, I could only find the image I made, and yeah, and one image is from season one, and it has 2 or 3 names in the wrong place. And then the last one is the one I think. I mean, I'm guessing it's right. We could still be wrong because we don't know like 4 of these
True.
symbols. So,
but
agree
I
with
think
Kevin. That's
the list you
exactly my
just
guess.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the list we just gave, like the one you listed, looks to be like
most
pretty
probably.
right.
Yeah. I really like
Like,
this.
doesn't-
One thing I never said, but I guess I never said this, but I love the symbols. Like, SIU could not have been more creative because, I mean, if I try to create out of my mind 10 symbols, I'm sure they won't look as different from each other as this. I'm sure it won't.
I really
They are
wish we
very
would
cool.
we would get a version of this without the text box.
You're right.
They are really creative and unique, different from each other.
I mean,
and they
they're all-
represent something.
They all represent their actual family leader, which I find very nice. Like we got some information on them, like on later footnotes and blog posts. He shared actually quite a lot on certain families.
Yeah.
And surprisingly little about other families, which is probably also intentional, like intentionally little information. But
Yeah.
I think they're also so accurate. Like if you like take that information, like at the time I read this the first time, of course I had no idea what these were. Like I think I actually thought the top right one was the Kuhn family simply because it like I mean it has some bluish color. I mean it might be something, I don't know. I had no idea. And now like the more information we get, the more like accurate they become. We know more about the sword techniques from the Ari family now because of White. We know the Ari family is related to them in a way, like not blood related, but still related. So their symbols that are like close. We know the Erasure Blossom is like bit her style, and that fits. Like everything just it's just like it's so well thought out.
So well done, right?
Yeah. I mean, SIU really thought of this very well. All right. So, any more comments about this? We're just gonna jump in the end of this same chapter, and this is something that I guess a lot of people
Actually, you are currently
on 33.
Oh yeah, just actually one quick thing I wanted to mention real quick was pretty close after the symbols. Well, actually, the next panel actually when they talk about the way like the chosen they receive the power of Zahard in a special way, and you see them in this embryo. Embryonic position and these cells, whatever, like that really looks like. I mean, we know they are not like blood related, and they somehow get Zahar's power. It just really looks like they're doing some genetic manipulation thingy, which really makes me wonder if they really are able to do something. that's probably some workshop thing. But if they are able to do something that looks like to be at least at close to genetic level, why wouldn't they just make the princesses unable to bear children, like in the first place?
I mean, they have
That's
to.
that's one thing I always
It's the
wondered.
dilemma, same as the story of God giving man the option of doing evil just to test him. So maybe it's just a test. I mean, yeah, they could
Yeah,
remove
that's it.
your bearing
It is a test.
capabilities,
So
but then how do you know when one of them is going out with a guy and having too much fun? You'll never know.
that happened
Can I
with
add to
Acer
that
and
thing?
Axmolar.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Um, the main purpose of the princess before was to be a wife of Jihad, right? So maybe they thought that the strongest princess, can bear Jihad's child. But in truth, Jihad doesn't want to. So that's why need to not. They should not prevent the princess to not bear a child. I think that's the reason,
It
because
has a
Jihad should have. I mean, that was the thought to be the reason, but Jihad don't really want to have one.
it has a point. That's right.
Yeah. Well, but the thing that I was like thinking about when I was thinking about why don't they just make them not be able to bear children, was like, well, yes, the reason they were supposed to become the daughters was princesses and to become the strongest one and collect the weapons and whatever was indeed what was said that the strongest one would get get to be the one to get Zahar's child. But like if they don't do that, if they leave the option for them to like yeah, like you said, like make like do evil, for just to stick with that comparison, like then there is most definitely a lot more behind the creation of the princesses than we know about. That just screams that there is more to it. If there is this, if there is an option for them to like fail in a way, and we know it's not like the actual thing is not about like bearing his child. It's that was just a thing set up to make them do stuff. Like there's something going on that I really would like to know what it is, but sadly, that's still.
It is answering in the webtoon. They were supposed to fail. That's
but
why
why?
he
That's
made
the-
that. Because he didn't want any woman after Aline or yeah. Actually, you're right. We don't know. It's
my point.
All right,
Like we can
let's move on,
assume that it
guys.
was because of that, but yes, let's move
let's
on.
move on.
Let's move
Let's
on.
take that from there.
Yes, yes.
All right, so last thing in this chapter, we don't want to get stuck on one chapter, is who is the man who rescues Anak? And it really looks like
It's not Evan.
It really looks like Evan.
It's a white dwarf, but it's not Evan.
But yeah, exactly.
Definitely
So
not Evan.
it definitely could be
Elf?
just somebody from his race. So I like how they draw this. He draw this part of the episode, and you can see
Absolutely,
a
it's
white-haired
amazing.
man.
Yeah, it's really
And,
beautiful that artwork.
So and here's the thing though, Evan is part of the white dwarfs, and we see through the other guy whose name I forgot that they are usually the kings or the princesses guides. So this white dwarf
Might
is
be
also a
the
princess's guide, I think.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it might be hers.
sorry.
Yes, it could be.
Yeah,
Right.
that's indeed my assumption. Like it's said that like princesses who were chosen who became rankers are entitled to get a guide that is by
I don't think-
contract that
but not all of
Zahar
them
has
have 'em.
made.
Yes.
Not all of them. They are entitled to them, but they don't have to take up on that right.
Right.
Yeah,
Even
So I
Get a 30-month series has a guy.
you think every
Yes.
13-month series has a
as
guide?
far as we know.
Well, what about
Does
possible.
Mashani have?
Masheni? I don't think we've met her guide
Yeah.
because Even this
Repulsa had.
princess Rapelista, she's not a ranker, but she has a guy, so it's very complicated.
She might actually get a 13-month series. So also,
She has the
replaced.
opera.
Yeah, she has a
She,
fucking opera. How did she
but
get that?
opera
Oh
is
my
not a
god, I love
13-month
to
series.
know more about her. Let's not jump ahead, guys. We haven't finished with the first.
Oh
So,
yeah.
well, I think the comparison is fair. Like she has the opera, which is also a very very powerful item,
Important.
and like having a guide assigned to them to keep an eye on them, like it might be part of this the whole scam thing. But what I actually wanted to get at was why I think it's not Evan. And that's well,
Okay.
first of all, because I think indeed she has her own guide, and
Yes, yes.
the other thing I think is that that's one thing I asked before we got this chat because I actually forgot. But Androssi knew Anak's mother, like so Anak. Gosh dang it, why do I have the same name? But well, she knew her, and like Anak did take care of Androssi like when she was new and everything. So this from this we know that like we get some pointers to a time frame, and since we also learn in chapter, this was actually I read it like a couple of hours ago. Gosh dang it!
It's about the chapter.
Anyways, they're like only every few hundred years a new princess is chosen. Ah, yes, chapter 32
Yeah.
was. Yeah, Kuhn said that while he was in his lighthouse. So we know that since Yuri, there are 3 generation of princesses. Like since Yuri became a ranker, we know that. And no, actually, since she became chosen. So there's been 3 generations of princesses. On one hand, we have Shilial and Lilia, like the Lopobia twins, who got chosen. And we have Maria Kuhn, who also got chosen. And she that must have been in the same area as well, because, well, I mean, Kuhn is not that old. And Androssi got chosen. So we know about 3 princesses since Yuri. But since Androssi is probably the youngest one amongst all of those, and Androssi knew Anak, that means that Yuri at that time must have already been a ranker. So Evan would have already been appointed to Yuri. If I done my math
Well,
correct.
yeah. But people sometimes assume that for some reason Evan, even if he was appointed to Yuri, he might have helped the other princes. But I don't think so. There's no good reasons to think that. And also on chapter 32 blog post, SIU says that confirms that Anak is older than Yuri. So I still wonder if Yuri just like how old was she when she met Anak, because Anak already had her daughter Anak. So I don't know, but maybe she just knew about her. But SIU definitely says that.
I think at like Anak only got Anak after she left. So I mean, so Yuri must have met Anak before she left.
Falling.
Which
I
is
don't
so
know.
confusing. Why do they have the same name?
Anyway, let's move on to 34.
I mean, it's a tough topic. Yes, it's speculation.
It is a lot of speculation, but it's interesting because
Yes.
SIU did a great job with the story, but he also did a great job of leaving a lot of things out. So, so Jesus, you put the God that created these
34, go.
towers know the answer, and I don't know what you're talking about. So explain for chapter 34.
I forgot to put.
That's chapter 35,
So,
isn't it?
Bam, if I'm not wrong, Bam asked Kyun, why does everyone have to fight? Why does everyone have to step on each other? And Goodrich thing, why does the tower work like that? Well, like this? Why does everyone have to fight each other and give up in her dreams and change? And Kuhn said, I don't know. Maybe there's a God up here that knows why. So definitely it's not your hat, because he made the rules, but What I mean is the purpose of the tower. Who was the one that built this tower, and what's the purpose? I usually want to make the point. I
Yeah.
don't want to discuss it because it is too much.
It's gonna be a
There's a
heated
lot of
discussion
speculation.
because I was ready to jump
But
in and say,
uh,
"Yes, the god of the
I just
tower."
wanted to point that out. Nothing else.
Yeah, it's a good point. So, only thing I'm gonna say is that yes, definitely Kuhn acknowledges that there is more than the tower. So I wonder if Kuhn knows there is more than 135th floor. Maybe he does.
No,
Maybe he
yeah,
does.
no.
I'm pretty sure he
What
knows, actually. I mean,
what I
he's
I don't
from
think.
the
know.
Kun family, after
Yeah,
all.
but
No,
Yeah.
everyone knows.
I don't think everyone knows.
Everyone knows that there is no outside. No, well, everyone that is a regular knows that there's 184, but there is no outside. There is no real top for them. So they
No, but
actually know that there is an
but
outside.
they don't know about the fact that Sahar stopped climbing because he couldn't go higher. Maybe they think that's the highest.
S- Some of the ancient
Yeah,
legends might still know, but the
but
new
it is.
regulars
I don't.
probably
Yeah,
don't.
like Kuhn, he might not
I
know.
think
The
it is common to
elders.
think that there is an
I think
outside.
the elders.
Just like he doesn't know the rules of the irregulars taking tests, and he had to learn that. Even Little Ro didn't know.
Yeah.
So some things are
I
very
think only
secret.
Rachel knew.
All right, but that's contradicted because Kun say that stars are the legend that come from the outside.
No, but
So
I'm not talking
he
about the
knows about
outside. The outside, yeah, everybody knows there is an outside, but I mean higher than
So what do you mean?
135th.
Yeah, higher
Yeah.
floors.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll
That
find out
actually,
eventually.
we don't know.
But now let's move
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
135th because nobody wrote anything on 134th. So I guess it was a very boring chapter. Not even I wrote anything. It's mostly a lot of chatting, a lot about talking about the test. So the next episode we have Shinsu and like what is Shinsu and how it works.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Let's-
keep it short, guys, because we might have to do a whole chapter just in Shinsu, a whole episode
Agreed.
in Shinsu.
It is better if we do a whole episode.
I mean,
Yeah.
one thing I would like to note is that we get introduced to the units and the names for those, and one thing that popped out, like that's
The names of what?
hear about it there, and then like the properties of banks and like
Oh, yeah.
the
units,
immune and
okay.
The
and the so
concentration and the,
yeah.
and the size.
Mu and
So the next time, and so exactly, and the next time we hear about this is in chapter 38, when Quant is talking about how much he's allowed to use in the hide and seek. But after that, we never, at least to my knowledge, never hear about Mune and so ever again.
Yeah, we don't hear about it other than
Like
blog posts.
it's a concept.
Yeah.
That's been forgotten.
It's a shame.
After season
He
one.
didn't forget. He's just too busy
I mean,
working on the story.
it's a shame, yes,
Yeah.
but also I cannot see how somehow like it's not important for you to understand what is happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's giving like some numbers that one bang of 10 Mune and 10
Yeah.
so is not enough to kill an ordinary person. That's all the numbers we know.
Yeah.
Except from that, it's just like
Yeah.
okay, they have all we need to know is that they have a relationship to each other that makes banks work.
Right. I
and
think that
therefore makes Shinsu work.
SIU started to use the system in the same way that many shonen use a system of power, and even like Dragon Ball Z, and
Yeah.
we can go to even more
Chikai.
current, like Hunter x Hunter using the I even forgot the name of it. What is it called?
Nen.
And then yeah, and I think SIU was on that direction,
That's a-
but us also.
You might forget.
No, he also wanted to be
I think it was
more
just
about
way
the
too
story.
complex for what he needed.
More it's just an
Like
introduction.
I think he did the right thing because I don't want the fights to be about talk.
Super analyzed.
I was able to create 10,000 gallons of Shinsu, or the size of my bang is, my meal
Yeah.
is 10,000 gallons of water, something like that. It just starts to become
I
ridiculous.
created only one bug, but it had 10,000 Mune, so mine is stronger than yours.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
starts to sound ridiculous, right? That's the thing about Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I love it, but it's ridiculous. So I think that he did right, and not. I mean, he explained it, and that's all he needed to do. Just
Yes.
he literally
Yeah.
created
Uh,
world building, but doesn't have to mention it every fight.
Yeah, that's right. I think he
yes.
wanted to point that out that there is this power system, and Shin should work like this. It
Yeah,
has
he
mass,
gave physics
a
to that.
size,
Yes.
and a concentration. But as you say, making this, yeah, I have a 1 million sue or something. It is ridiculous, and it is not like he forget. He just wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
So that where there were also people like, yeah, but he has a bang of Shinsu. Why his Shinsu is stronger than the other one? So
yeah. And
that hurt a lot.
Enryu created. I don't even remember which chapter it says this, but Enryu created
10,000.
9,000 banks, which is just a
Over
reference to
9,000.
over
Like,
9,000, which
The
is the
only
classic
Yeah.
Dragon Ball reference.
the real concept that actually act of Shinsura in fighting is that it actually matters is the amount of bank. Yeah, that's right. The amount of rooms. So
Yeah,
as you can say,
in a wave
what if I
wave
fight with
controller
three
fight.
and Bat has only one? Yeah,
It's
Can
but
I add
it's
also?
indeed. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you go first.
Can I have this theory. I'm not really sure about this, but especially about the Su and how Ren explained it. Su is the consistency of the Shinsu
Yeah, the
inserted in the
density.
bang. Yes, yes. Remember V, right? Among the warriors, he is the strongest. He is the most proficient in Shinsu strengthening, I think, or
Yeah, I think he.
Shinsu
Yeah,
tension, right?
where was that? I don't remember.
Maybe it is related in Su in the hidden floor, I think.
Is that in season
Yeah, I
3?
was saying floor.
It talks about yes,
Yeah.
and I think the Su is more on that side to strengthen the tension of the orb, something like that,
Yeah.
and Bam, because he's also a
yeah,
wave
in orbs
controller.
and body.
This is
That's right.
theory, I think. My
No, it's
theory
a good
about
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because
exactly how it works. That's right.
Also, Ho
I
mentions
believe
that Bam is like but he isn't from the 10 families. He shouldn't like be this good with this. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, like his parents both actually were pretty damn good with Shinsu. So
With Shinsu.
I think he gets the indeed the Su or so whatever it's called.
And he's an
He kind
irregular.
of gets it from his father.
And you're forgetting the fact
I mean,
that
yeah.
he's
I
an
mean,
irregular.
yeah. That
And he.
I mean,
Monster.
yeah. I think that doesn't like in order to form it. I don't think it matters how well he forms it. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that much
And
for
I think.
him learning it.
And I have this theory that he has the plus
Yeah.
tendency, which means that the more banks he can control, the more Su or more density he can control, or more volume actually. I mean, volume and density is all connected. So the more banks, there is a minus tendency, which means that most wave controller, the more banks they control, the less volume of that energy they can control. But there is a rare
because it
ability that
takes more
the more you
concentration.
control,
Yeah.
the more
Yes.
volume you control, which is like
Yeah.
the opposite, counterintuitive. And I
Yes.
feel like Bam probably has that ability, but it hasn't been mentioned, and I hate that.
Yeah, Johan Son say that.
Yeah,
Johan Su say that bank is different and special because whenever he tries to make so many banks, it is supposed that if you had many banks, the quantity and the quality of the Shinsu decreases.
hmm
But it is the opposite with him. It maintains and it can get better and better.
yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, it is the same with Jitsun and Caravan, if I'm not wrong.
But they never mentioned that word again, the plus tendency, which I
Yeah,
wish they did.
it gets like noted, and then it's just like, you know.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's
Now
move
it's gone.
away from Shinzo. Oops. And
Yes.
let's go to chapter 38. And this is where the things about positions start and the roles. So then 38, you wanted to talk about Scout, the role. And we're going to talk about, Quan. And I also have some notes from actually, you know what? Let me say a couple of things from the blog, because on chapter
Go
36,
for it.
uh, SIU says, real quick, light bearers are very important, and one good light bearer is better than two decent fishermen. So if you have a very good light bearer, it's way more important than even a couple of decent fishermen. And then on chapter 37, he's commenting about the ability that Quan uses to block the light. So blocking the light is an ability that scouts uses a lot so that they cannot be seen, obviously. But also light bearers has the reverse ability to block the block of the scouts, which is very cool. And I don't think they actually mentioned that in the
Kind of
story.
like Pokemon.
Actually, they kind of do. Kuhn, I don't know if it was Kuhn, but I know someone of the light bearers might be Leron A. Or Leron 3, what's his name? Whatever.
Yeah,
they mentioned that, like, with our lighthouses, we don't have the ability to counter that, which
Right.
indicates that with better lighthouses, they might, like, they're just rookie light bearers, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a ranker.
But they don't
scout.
mention
Like,
the
there's no way they
reverse
can
block,
match it.
which is a skill. Like say you said, it's a skill, the reverse block. So I don't know if it's really a lighthouse thing or both or just a skill, but that's what they said on the blog post. And then he says about the real inventory, which Anak, well, both uses Anak and Andros use
Yeah,
real
Anak
inventory.
uses
The real
Hans as
inventory
well.
is basically just like in real life, a reel that the fisherman used to throw hooks and needles with it, just like you would do when you try to fish. So we're already starting to go into like little things like the real inventory and the skills, and those little things help a lot in the blog posts. So what do you want to talk about the scout role? Jesus.
Yeah, I wanted to point out how important it is. So this kind of um, class system, it has its advantage, and there is the point that you need a scout and you need certain amount of one of each. It wasn't really a point. I just threw it out that it is interesting that someone needs to have some reconnaissance, the scout, and then give it to the light bearer so everyone can share the information. That's it. That is what I wanted to point out. But a little thing that I wanted to talk is that in early season 1, when this happened, there were so many people that say, why they give it such a stupid and boring position to Rachel or Woman's that is toward God discriminatory because light bearers are useless, and that's completely wrong.
No,
Because
completely wrong. As I just said,
No.
and that you like say
Yeah.
it is very important, even more important than a fisherman or a
Yeah.
scout.
I mean, Lightbearer is
Like,
so good
there's
because
You
he
can
can
get
pair with
events,
everyone.
information, boosting. It is not just a support role. Many say that it's just a support role and it is not important. Even some YouTubers that complain about Tower of God say that these concepts of positioning, it is not important because it just means who is stronger, and that's completely not true. Because as far as we know, uh, even regulars, if they plan out things and play like his lighthouse, they can kill high rankers or rankers.
Yeah.
Like it happened with
I think the problem
what
is
I mean.
that no, yeah, I get it, and I think the problem is that many of the fights after season 1 are more about 1v1. There's some team fights, but um, you don't see the best of the positions unless there is a team fight or a test where you have to catch a fish, because all the positions were developed to fight Xianhu, the divine beast.
Yes, yes, you know.
So in fights,
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah,
you
it was
don't
a team
show
fight.
so much. But yeah, one more thing.
Also, like, at some point, like, people become so strong that even if they have the position of, let's say, light bearer or a spear bearer, they are just so strong in general that they can fill the position like most other positions. Like a spear bearer can just use his spear in close quarters combat, like a fisherman would with a needle or something. So there's a light bearer can still wield a knife and can be so good wielding his knife, like a top tier fisherman, but he's just so damn good with a lighthouse, or his personality doesn't suit combat. Like he's more of the strategist, like Kun. I mean, that it doesn't make sense for him to be categorized as like a fisherman, even though he might be a great fisherman, but that's not his role on the battlefield.
So since we're on that topic, I'm going to say a couple of things from the blogs that are related. First of all, on chapter 38, which is where we're talking about, SIU says that the scouts are really good. They have to be very strong physically. And in a fight, a scout versus a spear bearer, a close fight, the scout would have the advantage because they are meant to be strong and close combat, while obviously the spear bearer is more of a long range. And the only way that scouts get trouble fighting spear bearers is basically when the spear bearer is paired with a light bearer, because the light bearer gives the spear bearer, a boost in accuracy and even like turning the spears around, so something like that. And then he said that fisherman is the most balanced position because they are good at long range when they use the reel and at close range when they use their needle. And then I love when he talks about the little things. That's why I write them down. He also says on chapter 41 that fisherman uses sometimes there is a carrier, which is an inventory, and the inventory is a mixed inventory of a pocket, a lighthouse, and a casket. And the carriers, there's only three of them. 3 are rank A and 7 are B rank. And it's basically...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear that quite well, and it's really interesting. I haven't read that before.
Yeah, the carrier is a type of inventory, which is made out of a pocket, a lighthouse, and a casket. And it's made for fishermen, and the fisherman is able to perform any position with that because they have the pocket, they have the lighthouse, and it is meant for them to perform any position, but there's only 10 made. 3 of them are rank.
Oh my God.
And 7 of them are B rank. The only thing is that they are not effective in battle. Like, it's a thing for you to be multitask, but they're really not effective in battle. And Adoris Ahart uses 1, which is really cool. That's all I have to say.
Broken.
Or it was like a floating backpack in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do anything you want. It's badass.
Just jam everything in there, and then if you prepare, you're like, I think this battle I need this, and then you open your thing and just, I need the lighthouse. Yeah.
So imagine you're a very cool, strong fisherman, but you're also a loner, and you don't want to have a team. You carry, but there's not many. It's only 10.
You say that it is not suited for combat.
No.
But somehow I feel that if Adoro uses it, he can completely use everything.
Of course. I mean, and they are
takes up everything and juggles it in the air.
No, and they are A rank and B ranks. So that means they are top of the line. I mean, and the same, I didn't want to make this too long, but in the same chapter, SIU says that A rank items are extremely rare, and rankers usually don't have any. High rankers might have 1 or 2. So it's almost super rare to have an A rank thing.